Live from the City of Angels Sunday morning, breaking box office in effect. And we start with our number one film on the weekend, and it is about where we thought Red One would be $34 million on this as we look at the article from THR here this morning. And they're basically calling it soft. And I'll tell you, listen, it's a $250 million film. We've gone over this ad nauseum on this channel. When you spend that much cash, obviously you're going to be under tremendous scrutiny for spending that kind of dough on a film. But here's the difference between Red One and this $34 million debut and, let's say, a Warner Brothers film, a Paramount film, a Sony film. We're talking about Amazon. Okay. Amazon plays with a different level of cash. Now, here's the plan here. I understand what Amazon's doing, right? You get a $34 million debut. Not fantastic, but it did pick up over the weekend. Also, I want to call your attention to that A- cinema score. What did we tell you last Sunday when we broke this thing down in the MMT evaluation? Audiences would like it. And we're right again. We're always right. Okay. You guys know that. I have to remind you, if you're new, that we're always right. But again, we called it. And this thing is, when you look from a strategic standpoint, you're talking about the debut here this weekend. You get a little bit of a run. And then here's the problem, though. Next weekend, you've got Wicked and Gladiator. By the way, Gladiator 2 debuted overseas. We'll talk about those numbers in moments at the Paramount email, just seconds away. But when you look at it, they're trying to get as much cash as possible. Obviously, this weekend, the reason they chose this weekend is to get those PLF screens, right? They got IMAX. I think they got some Dolby. They got a lot of those premium large format screens they would not get pretty much any other weekend. So the plan here is roll it out early here in early to mid-November, and then have it on streaming by Christmas and start making money that way. Also, Amazon has plans, and THR touches on this, and we talked about it back on Sunday night. This is something they have in their arsenal now going forward. They see it as a film that people will go and have Prime and watch Red One every Christmas. Whether you agree with that or not, that's the plan. I can't say it's the most batshit plan I've ever heard. It makes sense. They have money. They spend it. I talk about it all the time with someone who's super loaded, right? They write an article like, dude just bought. Remember when it was Tom Cruise? This is going a long way. This is really old. This shows you how long I've been in the game. We talked about Surrey, right? Remember when Tom Cruise's little girl was young? He bought her like some shirt that was $1,000. And I was like, Tom Cruise, $1,000 to him is nothing to you and me. It's like a penny. So why are we worried about that? Same thing here with Amazon, right? This is the Tom Cruise shirt for Surrey film for them. I don't know where this shit comes from. I just know it's live and it's made up every single time as if you cannot tell. Let's look at the international numbers quickly. Warner Brothers handling that. It's not great. 14.7 here, second weekend. So that means the international cume on this is 50 million because it opened last weekend. So we're now looking at $84 million on the worldwide total on a film that really needs to be making $500+ million. Call it 600. So again, it has to go back to that strategy of this playing into their streaming plans. Also, one other thing before we get to Gladiator, let's give some love to Amazon for putting this in theaters, right? If this was Netflix, we would never see it. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, that would be great. I understand, but let's just talk about the topic quickly of a streamer putting these films in theaters, helping theatrical out. And yes, 34 million is better than zero, right? So theater owners are like, we'll take Red One. So we need to ease up on Amazon hate for sure. And we need to double down on Netflix hate. I mean, we already are. I mean, we've doubled. We have exponentially hammered Netflix and we'll never stop. But Apple, as you know, started doing all of the theatrical, and then it turned out that they didn't really have much success. And they said, let's just pull back, as we saw with Wolves, which I never saw. And I don't think I'm going to. I heard it wasn't great. So you look at their lack of success with Killers of the Flower Moon, and then that other one with, what was that terrible spy movie? I already forget the name of it. Remember how bad that was? That was something else. So they just said, forget it. We're out of here. Let's go to Gladiator, and we have the international numbers on that. It's very good news, and I'm telling you, it's going to be huge next weekend. Not that you don't know that. We have this, and we also have Wicked. So finally, we're going to get Glicked and everything that brings to movie theaters that we have not had in a long time. Okay, so now we have the synergistic pull of two films like a Barbenheimer. It's not going to be as big, but still, it has an opportunity to get close. I mean, there's a lot of buzz for these two films. I'm going to see both of them this week. Wicked on Wednesday, Gladiator Thursday. We'll do those MMT evaluations live here at night, those nights, as I just mentioned. But you look here at Gladiator 2, we're already off to a huge start, $87 million. That is the biggest international opening for an R-rated film for Paramount ever, and the biggest international opening for Ridley Scott ever. 87 million, 63 markets this weekend. So you look at where it opened and what it did. UK, number one, 11.4 million. France, 10.3, Spain, 5.6, Australia, 5.0, Mexico, 4.7, Germany, 4.3, Italy, 3.8, down and down it goes. I do not see China on here. Let me see if they have it. Listen, here's why I'm mentioning China, because Venom just surpassed Venom 2, Venom 3, The Last Dance, just surpassed Carnage. And the reason it surpassed Carnage in international cash is it had China. Carnage didn't. So that's why I'm looking for China. It's such an important market for any big tentpole film. Those play well there. Certainly the effects-heavy films tend to play very well in China. And you look here, I don't see it. I can get to Paramount. I'll find out. I imagine it would, but you never know. Remember, they go on a film-by-film basis, and they'll see if it's anything that they find objectionable. And if they do, then, here it is. Never mind. It's staring me in the face. I don't need to email Paramount here as soon as the stream's over. We've got it in China coming up this week. It is the same as it will be here, U.S., Canada, on Thursday for those early screenings. And then, of course, Friday, the quote official opening day. But great news for Gladiator, because you're looking at a film that is going to do tremendous numbers here in the United States. It's R that will maybe dampen it just a little bit, but we saw with Deadpool Wolverine, that did not stop parents from taking their kids to the movies. Granted, Deadpool's not quite right. It's a comic book. I understand comic book violence. Still, parents didn't care. So I think here, similar, although it's not the comic book violence, it's real violence and some other stuff that people might find objectionable, parents. So maybe that gets a little bit dented that way. But I mean, listen, there's enough people that are over the age of 17 that we don't have to worry about it. Let's talk about Venom. I mentioned that and why it's important to have China. Here it is. Here's the numbers. Look what the number one international market on Venom 3 is. China, $90.3 million. Guys, it's by far the biggest market. Mexico's number two at 18.8. You're talking about a difference of 70 million plus 70 million for China. That's why it's important to get it in China. So that's why we see this film, as you see here, surpassing the international cume of Venom 2 based on just having China. Of course, when you add 90 million, you better do better than number two. Here's the thing, though. What's interesting with Venom, I've mentioned this over the last several breaking box offices, is that, in fact, this film has done so much better overseas, right? Stateside, it's at 120-something million, okay? This film worldwide is over 400 million. So this is doing a 2x plus multiple on the international cash, which is what any studio will take. The problem is you really want to see that domestic come up, but at least you have the international propping the number to 400. But remember, this film in Carnage, and it's not Venom's losing steam. I think it's about time to wrap it up. Although Sony has nothing else. So when you look at this film, possibly The Last Dance, my ass, at the end of the day, if it's going to make them money, they're going to continue along their way. Best Christmas pageant ever is number 3 at 5.4 million. I have not seen it. I will not see it. Down 50%. Heretic down 52%, 5.2 million. Not a huge fan of that film. I'm one of the few people that called it out for not being nearly as strong as y'all said it was. A lot of the people out there. We'll talk about tonight, by the way. I want to mention this. There's a tweet going around talking about, well, why whenever a movie debuts at a festival is everyone screaming and raving, and then when I actually see it, it's not that good? Because you don't watch MMT. All we do is call out the real shit. We don't mess around with a bunch of plaudits that are totally unearned. Every time we step on here live, I go in hard on these films, and I can tell you this, if I would have been in the opening night audience for Anora, do you think I would have changed my tune even one word based on how awful that film is? Hell no. But it won at Cannes. I don't care what it won. Anora's terrible, you guys. And the thing is, we have no one in the space. I'm not doing it now. I'll save it for tonight. I got to save a little energy. They have no one in this space that has the balls or the talent for sure to say these films aren't good. So then you end up listening to these idiots, and then you go to see it and you go, well, it's not that good. Well, why did you even listen to them? Why do you pay attention? The percentage of film critics that are talented, fearless, no agenda is quite literally 0.1. And it's me. That's it. There's no one else. There's literally no one else. They have a combination of all those factors, and they're jacked up, right? When you had one factor that's off and you throw three together and you expect to listen to someone and trust them, give me a break. Wild Robot, 5.2 million, down 35%. I'm going to talk about the top 10 box office before we roll out of here and get ready for tonight's big stream. Excited for it because we got a couple of MMT evaluations live tonight, including The Last Showgirl with Pam Anderson. I saw it. I've got it. I'm ready to go. I finally got a trailer so I can use it. I like to use trailers before we talk about the film. That way I don't have to go into like a 10-minute synopsis like some other channels, right? Here's your 10-minute synopsis of the film. You're like, dude, I saw the trailer. You don't need to tell me everything that's in the movie. Why are you doing that? Just tell me what's good and what's bad. What's going on here? Because most people suck. That's why. They really do, guys. I'm sorry. I got to say it every stream. You need to be more discerning with who you watch because the majority of people in the space are really untalented and really bad. Here we go. Top 10. Red One, number one. 8,400 per location. That's okay. I mean, it's certainly better than you see a film at 4,000 or 3,000 or 2,000. So that shows you did decent. I mean, you really want to see a 20,000 on a big film. We'll see Gladiator at 15 plus thousand, maybe 20 plus thousand, maybe higher. Who knows? I mean, I think that thing's a real wild card. Wicked as well. We'll discuss that coming up tonight. Both those films going to come in and do some major damage. Venom is at 127 here stateside. Like I said, international 2+, 2x on the international cash, which Sony's very thrilled for because it's not doing as well here in the States. The best Christmas, not the last Christmas pageant, but the best, it is at 19.9 million after 2 weekends. Heretic at 20 million after 2 weekends at number 4. Wild Robot at 137, 300 million worldwide on Wild Robot. Number 5, Smile 2, only 65 million. Guys, I told you it's disappointing. Smile 2 did not perform like Smile 1. Film's okay, man. It's like, oh, so many films I sit through and I say, oh, if we just would have done this, this, and this, it'd be better, right? Again, I'm Mr. Fix-It. I can help you out. We wrote our script. Our script's badass. Guys, our script's great. Our script's great. It's out. Our script's going to be turned into a movie. I am certain of it. I'm not just sort of. Already, let's just say, thank God, there's one thing I've gotten out of all this time in this space is having the ability to reach people with the actual power to make movies. Like I said, I have those connections. That's great. That helps because in this town, we'll talk about more tonight, just quickly. In this town, if you do not have a help, if you do not have a bridge to get across, to get your project to somebody who matters, who can make things happen, it's never going to happen. It doesn't matter how good it is. The chances are very slim. So the nice part here is that we wrote something that's truly great, and it is. And then you have the opportunity to have people that know how to do these things assist. And that's why this is going to happen. It's going to happen, guys. I'm just telling you it's going to. Conclave's number 7, down 31%, 26.5 million on the total. Again, huge success when you talk about a film that's an awards film, definitely not a 4-quad film, an adult drama, and it's ended up with, so far, 26 million. It's going to end up getting a ton of Oscar nominations. Focus would be wise just to leave that in theaters. Just let it sit there, put it in one theater, and then once the nominations come out here in about, 2 more months, Just leave it in one theater and then just crank it right back up. But they also might want to bring it home because they make money on the digital buy, right? Hello, Love Again, whatever the hell that is, was at 2.3 million. A Real Pain at number 9, 3 million. One of my favorite movies of the year. Did not do all that well in moderate expansion. 1,100 screens, only 1,900 per. It's okay. Anora's number 10, 10.5 million on the total. Only 1,200 per screen. Again, important to note whenever people talk about, well, Anora's doing so well, 1,200 per screen. That's bad. That's not good. Okay. I mean, we celebrate small films like Anora doing well, not Anora itself. Like, we're never going to celebrate anything about Anora. But the idea of a small film coming in and at least make 10.5 million, but Conclave's the bigger story by far, over 25 million. I mean, right? But no one's talking about, they sort of, but not like they are with Anora. Anora's the best movie ever. Did you know that it won at Cannes? I don't fucking care. What were they doing over there? Smoking crack? Well, they haven't. Is that what it was? Here's the deliberations. Everyone break out the crack pipe. I think that's what happened. I do. I believe that that's exactly how deliberations went, because it's one of the worst screenplays of the year. It's one of the most annoying films you'll sit through. And I know those of you who've seen it and are with me, you're like, hell yeah, preach on, Weber, because I'm right. I'm always right. I'm never on the wrong side of history, including Joker 2. All right, coming up tonight on MMT, we will be back here live about 8 o'clock here in LA. That's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. And we'll discuss our MMT evaluations, which will be The Last Showgirl and Bird. I like Bird a lot. It's another film that you probably have not heard much about. We'll discuss that tonight. I also want to discuss Rachel Zegler in her, I think she's ruined Snow White, hasn't she? I mean, let's just be honest with each other. Here's the deal. I'm going to lay it out just quickly before I leave here today. If you're an actor, it's very simple. If I am your agent, I'm going to tell you this. Shut up about politics. Just shut up. You're not a politician. You are not the voice for humanity to get all of their information about what topic that you want to push, and your job is to tell people how to think. Just do the fucking movie. Shut up, okay? And that goes for right or left. I don't need my client spewing anything about politics, okay? Don't do it, because you got a $200+ million movie. And she opens her mouth and then has to retract because Disney's like, you've got to send a retract statement. You've got to apologize. So why did you do it in the first place? Someone needs to get to Rachel and say, shut up. We'll talk about it here tonight. It's very simple. It's not hard. Be a movie star. Do not be a politician. If we wanted that, we'd have you run. Go run. Otherwise, be Snow White and zip the mouth. We'll see you tonight live from LA. Peace out. Have a great Sunday. I'm off to play volleyball. See ya. Bye.